Okay, let's get into it.
Right.
Welcome to the non-Berliners.
Berliners.
Maybe we need to practice to look at the camera.
Yeah. Okay.
Non-Berliners.
Berliners. Okay, one more time.
Non-Berlin
Okay.
Berliners.
No, can you start from welcome?
Welcome to the non-Berlin
Berliners.
Berliners.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
The
tired.
thing is, you're just looking at the camera like constantly.
We have to move.
At least it's a good profile. Good side, right?
The good side. The good side.
Yeah. Welcome everyone to a new episode. We're still on YouTube.
Yo.
We
Yeah.
made it a whole week, and we're excited to record another one.
We got some views.
We got some views.
Yeah.
We got some comments.
Yeah.
That's what we like to see. So maybe the friction to add a comment is smaller,
Yeah, exactly.
which is good.
Mhm. Yeah.
So please comment. And like always, bad comments are getting deleted quickly, but good ones stay forever.
So you're taking personal responsibility for
Yeah,
that.
personal.
Yeah.
And also answering every single comment.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there was only 2 comments, and I answered every one of them.
Great.
So I'm,
Yeah,
I'm,
exactly.
I'm
Every
keeping
single
up
one of them.
every
Yeah.
single one of those 2 comments.
Exactly.
They were answered and liked. Remember
Right.
that.
Guys.
And subscribe to us. I mean, you have the know that they're coming out. on
I checked
Mondays.
these 3 subscribers at least.
Yeah.
I think it's just 3.
Yeah. But no, you probably haven't subscribed
I
yet.
did
I
subscribe.
haven't subscribed.
Joshua, come on.
Guys, sorry.
So we should be at 4.
We need to be at 4 now at least.
That's crazy.
Don't worry, I'll subscribe with all my 7 YouTube channels.
All right.
You
good.
should. Does that help for growth? Add some fake subscribe. Okay. I'm excited. We're like we said, we're the non-Berlin Berliners.
Yeah.
We haven't. I think we haven't mentioned it for a while, but what we want to do with this podcast, the purpose of this podcast, is to bring different perspectives.
Yo.
Mm.
We have 3 perspectives here.
Yeah.
Mm.
We might be very similar on some things,
Mm.
but we are a little bit different on some
Yeah.
things. We
Yeah.
learned from season 1 of this podcast.
True
Right.
that,
We're
yeah.
not always the same. It's good for the
Yeah.
chats. Otherwise, it would be very boring.
Yeah.
And the idea is just to bring different perspectives, talk about topics that
Mhm.
hopefully you are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you do talk about these topics with your friends. Maybe you don't. If you don't, we can be your friends for today.
Ooh.
And like always, we're not experts. We
Mhm.
are work in progress.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We like
Soon
le-
to be experts.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we like learning, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are, what do you call it? Lifetime learners.
Yeah.
Or should we be done like at 60? Should we be done at 60?
I don't know. I think like it's easy to say when you're not 60, right?
Yeah.
I think like when you
Oh my God, I can't.
when I was 20, I thought 40 is so old.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And now how old are you?
40, exactly
Yeah.
40.
Boom.
Early 40s.
And Joshua, how old are you?
20.
You're not 20.
No, guys, I'm 22.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
lie.
22?
Yeah.
He's
What
growing.
happened?
Yeah.
It's
great.
it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
And I'm soon 30, like we all know.
Yeah, good.
So yeah, I'm excited. Let's get right into
Yeah,
it.
let's go.
Last episode we didn't really have a topic,
Mm-hmm.
but because we were just kicking it off.
I
it
think
was
it
a-
became like the AI topic,
True.
right?
Maybe I should
Yeah.
call it the AI episode.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We can talk about AI a lot. But today we want to talk about. We just already chatted about it in the intro of the episode.
Mhm.
But we want to talk about should everyone be an entrepreneur?
Sheesh.
Because I had another topic prepared for this episode, but we were chatting about this topic already in the intro, so I was
Mhm.
like, let's keep it going.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. We started talking.
Yeah, we were like talking about
No idea.
exactly. So let's just
Yeah.
keep going. Entrepreneurs, are you guys entrepreneurs?
Yeah. Also, I think I am. I think I'm. Yeah, I think I am.
You think you?
Maybe
are?
you can describe a bit, Isaac, what do you mean with entrepreneur?
Yeah, of course. So this was actually a topic that came from a listener.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really exciting.
Great.
Hosni.
So someone what's his name?
No, it wasn't Hosni.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll take that.
Anonymous.
this is awkward. We should edit in the name.
All right.
Okay, doesn't matter. It was we keep it private here. You know,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
want people
Yeah.
to.
We don't dox.
We don't dox people. We don't shame
No,
them
no,
for
no.
asking questions.
Yeah.
No, the topic came from a listener, and I thought it's exciting because maybe you guys hear differently, but what I and this person hear a lot is that everyone is pushing you to be an entrepreneur. You should build your own thing. You should do your own thing. You should be your own boss, and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's valid points. but do you guys think that's something that is true for every single person in this world?
I think majority, no.
Why?
Because if everybody, if everybody, I think everybody, even when you have a boss, do you actually have a boss? Like, I think that's even the first question. I think it's because most times, I think people say they want something, but actually they want something else. And when you actually realize what comes to getting what you get, then it's like, so for example, what I'm trying to say is sometimes people are like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, but it's not because they actually want to be an entrepreneur. It's probably just because they want to make a lot more money and they want to have more freedom at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like those two things. And it's this concept that, oh, if you run a business, you get to dictate your times and also you get to take the most money from the business. Whereas actually it's kind of the other way around. You end up putting the most time in and you end up putting all the money you make back into the business. So actually you are the one that gets drained dry and you are the one that never stops thinking about the business. Whereas if you're an employee, you get to check in, check out. There's like you can mentally switch off, which
Exactly.
what nobody realizes is that like the person that's running the ship, at least any good person that's running the ship, never switches off, but for a certain period doesn't really switch off. So, and like Isak said, I think there's a lot more that goes into it. So I think maybe it's asking the right questions and getting the right solutions. So because there's so many ways to get to the solution without pushing this thing. However, I also think is like kind of with the emergence of internet and online culture and people seeing what other people have, so they want that for themselves and thinking. I think that's also a thing.
I think I think exactly asking the right questions as well, like what it means to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot connected with making your own decisions for things, being proactive, taking initiative for stuff, right? And exactly, the outcome can be financially better or more freedom.
Yeah.
But I think if you take that concept out of only the workspace, I think everyone has the potential to make decisions, be proactive, and do all these things that can, because people do it for what they like, right? We all know how to book our holidays, right? You go to booking.com or Airbnb, check your things, check your flights, match things, make decisions of where you're gonna eat out, where you're gonna go, where you're gonna travel. I mean, you are traveling soon, and you probably spend a lot of time. So is that well, maybe Xiao.
in this particular case, I was just joining the ride.
All right,
I
cool.
didn't have to think.
But someone had to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of like entrepreneurial thinking, right? Like I'm able to take decisions for myself ahead, right? And I'm able to. But when it comes to doing that for a living, I don't think it's necessarily that everyone does that. I think because of what you said, because a lot of risk connected to it. Also, depending of the part of the world that you live in, I think that affects a lot as well. But I think as well that the potential for doing something that you love is the easiest time in history probably for us to all look at what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Right? Is this entrepreneur or is just doing something we love and enjoying it?
Yeah.
So
Same thing,
it can become profitable. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we are doing it not for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like, I don't know, if I thought of successful like I don't see Joe Rogan, for example, and think, oh, this guy's a crazy entrepreneur. I just think he's a guy that is like has a successful podcast. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Like, and a second thing I also wanted to say is that, like, back to the thing we're talking about, asking questions, like, I think a lot of it is just like people just want to make more money, and then it's like the closest thing when they think money, boss, time, money equate the same thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I don't even think a lot of entrepreneurs make that much money. So, like, I think salespeople are the people who actually like straight just take cash home. That's like, so if you like, if we talk about like straight numbers, like if you're an entrepreneur of $1 million business, that means the business does $1 million in revenue, right? Or sorry, let's even say $1 million in profit or whatever, it doesn't matter. $1 million in revenue, depending on the business model, most times the entrepreneur takes 200K home. So like 150, 130 to like 200K, that's his profit. Now, some entrepreneurs put that back into the business, some only take like, depending. But that's how much the entrepreneur gets. There are so many sales guys. So basically, if you are a sales guy, you can make 200K, which is very, very possible if you are selling solar, if you are selling real estate, if you are selling anything that's basically very expensive. You could not easily, but in 3 years make 200K. like if you are in an aggressive market, basically as a sales guy. But like nobody would ever think about it like that. Obviously, yes, you might be working crazy hours, but I guess the point I'm trying to say is that like you have less risk, you get all the benefits, you get little downside, and I think people want that more than they even want other stuff. Or like investment banking or what and whatnot. I guess the point I'm just trying to add is that like, I don't know, entrepreneurship is not as cool as everybody makes it out to say.
Yeah, when I think about it, like, to me, I think entrepreneurship has to do with the will or the need to change things. Like, cause like you feel like you want to do something new or change something, and you can only do that you can only do that in an easy way if you're the one making the decisions.
Yeah.
Like, of course, if you work for a company, you could push your ideas up and hope that it happens. But for example, take this podcast as an example. We can do whatever we want, whenever we want. We don't earn money, which means that we have nothing that would switch our reasoning. Like, we could do the ugliest podcast ever, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, is that's what I mean. If we had like a boss that says, "Oh, you have to release two podcasts each week, and it has to get this amount of views and has to do these specific things," then we can't choose so much anymore. I don't know. That's what when I think about entrepreneurship.
I like what you're saying because it's also connected to purpose, right? If you say like entrepreneur has that part of wanting to change something, like could be like, I don't know, change in every area of work is things that you can change, like every sphere of society.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you're part of the company, it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a company, unless you're like you are in a company that is really, really focused on maybe bringing a change somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's exactly right. Like if you're a person driven by purpose, you're probably gonna go more that side than a person that doesn't have that and you just want to be like 9 to 5 and enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's why I think this topic is so interesting, because we could also, I think, also discuss that a little bit in the sense of, exactly like we talked about before. If you have your own business, you're an entrepreneur in that sense. That's gonna take a lot of your time. That means that you will most likely not have time for much more stuff in the week. But if you work a 9 to 5, of the 5, you don't have any homework, you don't have anything you have to do until tomorrow. You're totally free for whatever hours that are left of the day, where you can do whatever you want.
And like, I think one thing that, like, to kind of follow up on your point, there's this guy, Patrick Bet-David, he talks about this thing all the time, that there's an entrepreneur and then there's an intrapreneur. So basically, an example of an entrepreneur and intrapreneur is like Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer. So Steve Ballmer currently is the guy that owns the what's the name of this? Los Angeles Clippers. So he's the basketball team, right? So the guys that are always against the Los Angeles Lakers. But he actually started as an employee in Microsoft, and basically he rose up to getting to the point that he became the right hand man to Bill Gates. When Bill Gates had, like, they were going through their thing with lawyers and they were fighting a lot of stuff in court, he stepped up and he was the guy leading the charge. Basically, he got equity in the company. That's a summary of what I want to say.
He was CEO, right?
At the point, exactly. Once this guy stepped down.
It's a really famous video of him
jumping
and screaming. Like,
yeah, but he's like that. And even with the basketball guys, he's crazy. He doesn't.
But that's what I mean. Like, you can be that's what I mean. You being intrapreneur means inside the company, building, but the mindset is the same.
It's the same because you still have to have that, he had to have the same level of commitment that Bill Gates had for the company.
Which makes sense, because if you say like Bill Gates is the entrepreneur, what kind of person are you looking for? Right? So if you have that in your company, you're going to try to look for that kind of mindset to give more responsibility.
Exactly.
So meaning you can be an entrepreneur or intrapreneur in working with a boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, because for example, like, are you not? For example, I'm your CEO, Andres, and I say, hey, you're gonna be you have full ownership to build up a sales team. Are you not an entrepreneur then?
Yeah.
Exactly.
In that area?
Exactly. Hence entrepreneur. And I think what's really cool about that as well is that like, I think the most important thing is as long as the vision of the entrepreneur is big enough to handle the vision of the entrepreneur, the entrepreneur is always going to thrive.
Yeah.
And I think that's always like no strong, solid company or any solid team or any big change is made without entrepreneurs that have the vision and entrepreneurs that can also see that vision through. Because
so you're saying in this scenario, Andres would be an entrepreneur and not an entrepreneur.
Exactly. So if Andres was the guy running the sales
he didn't pick the vision of the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it also doesn't mean that he doesn't get a fat check even more than other entrepreneurs.
Which I can own that vision as well for me.
Exactly.
If I align with my values with that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't need to be the one that creates it, but I can also pick it up on the journey. And I think kind of like you're not starting from scratch.
Exactly.
You're working on something that's already been layers on.
So the definition we came up with here says that to be an entrepreneur, you need to be the one with the initial vision.
Exactly. That's really, in my own personal opinion, I think that's the only difference, because in terms of commitment, in terms of sacrifice, in terms of effort, so basically what we're simply saying is that like everybody, I even think sometimes it's easier because you get paid to learn, literally. If you are an entrepreneur, you come into a situation where things are already built, you get paid already, you start earning, but you are learning at the same time. So someone is paying you to learn, and you are also building a vision that is big enough that you believe in to see it through.
Exactly. And that maybe is also like breaking down this part where you said at the beginning that people connect entrepreneur with money, like with more money, more freedom, but actually it can be the opposite. Because if you're 100%. Thinking out about this entrepreneur, you get experience leading, you're already in something that is set, and you're already building something that in the future can lead you to taking your own initiative. But usually the one that starts their own business, they also need to have like another source of right? Like they also maybe have a different job and at the same time starting their own business with their own vision.
Exactly. And it's like just taking the entrepreneur, like the guy with the vision, he just had the most risk and there's the most chance he's going to fail. So and also the truth is that like most people, the reason why most businesses fail is because like most entrepreneurs just don't have the vision to see through to the end. And sometimes you bite more than you can chew. I think that's one thing I've been learning as I've been reading a lot. Like not everybody's skill, like the only entrepreneur I know that was successful in their first business was Jeff Bezos. Like the first business they did.
And that's the thing, like that's people who use that example. Yeah. Like, look, you can do exactly the same, right?
But Jeff Bezos is the only person I know that of all the successful guys I know that it was his first business. And he was an investment banker. Like he was working in an investment bank before. And he like planned out the entire thing fully from scratch. And even then, he's like, he had investment bank.
He also did a big pivot, right?
Yeah.
Because Amazon was very different in the beginning.
It was a book selling company.
But was it even online in the beginning?
Yeah, he always planned it to be online. Okay. Because it was like, the thing is they were trading and then he realized the amount of money that was going to the internet. However, there wasn't like a lot of, it's like in crypto right now, there were a lot of gaps and there were a lot of needs. And he noticed that. And he also noticed that books also took a lot of the space of generally how much stuff people buy. So people buy a lot of books in real life. And then he realized, people are buying a lot online, but the books aren't yet there yet. So how can I get into that space and also just take over the whole selling and not selling? So it was really cool.
Yeah.
But the point I'm just trying to make from all of this is that like, I think what I realized that most times for things that fail is most times because the entrepreneur who takes it the first time has it.
Hi, sorry, I have bad news. The camera died. So I was sitting here editing and sadly the camera died. So unfortunately for the rest of the podcast there will be no video, but next week there will be video again. So sorry for that. Sorry about that. But keep enjoying. Bye.
Vision that is too that is like too much for them to chew. Like I don't think an Elon Musk coming out of high school or university could have done SpaceX. Like I think even PayPal almost got to zero, and they were still like, how many of them? The 6 of them, the PayPal mafia. That's like Jack Dorsey, all of those guys. Like the point I'm just trying to make of all of this is that like it's not that fun to be an entrepreneur. However, it's fulfilling, but I think you're still as fulfilled if you're an entrepreneur. Yeah. And
I never heard that word before. So it's interesting.
I hate all the time.
I think also like you need to, I think when it comes to that, when you're talking about vision, you need to have always someone also that you can follow in that sense, like someone is leading you.
Yeah.
Even if it's, because if you are leading a company, I think if you are full of vision and what example that you gave with Microsoft, this guy is going to attract people like him.
Yeah.
Right? So you attract already that. So if you are growing, if you are full of vision, you're going to always attract. If people see that you stop growing, you lack in vision and you are demotivated, that's not going to attract any of these guys. And I think that's also like a magnet thing that happens.
It's hard.
Yeah.
That's usually why this entrepreneurs creates these kind of like entrepreneur cults, right? Because they want someone to talk about entrepreneurship, and then it's like any topic, it becomes this little bubble that is very like fun. Like from the outside, it's easy to make fun of them because they look so stupid. But I get it then in the sense of you want someone else to talk about this and also challenge and back and forth,
Yeah, but
kind of like this grind. How was your grind this week?
Yeah, but it's also like startup culture as well, low key, right? Like if you're like, I respect the startup founders. Like these guys are just crazy because what it takes to just make a startup be successful, like it's just crazy. Like the things they have to go through, whether it's like you're going, completely organic, you're not getting funding, or you're going even the funding route. It's still like it's just a hassle.
Yeah, and the thing is, for example, like I know, like first of all, I know you guys. None of us is scared of hard work, right? Like you can put hours, you can put things, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna be success, right? Like you have lots of startups, and it doesn't. I'm sure they all work hard.
Yeah,
right.
I think a really good example, and this is not
shade.
This is not shade. This is just the reality. Like a lot of restaurant owners work extremely hard. Like I look at my wife's parents, for example. They work so hard. I don't know anyone that works that much. They have the one day of the week that is off, their Wednesdays, and then they're preparing for the rest of the days. So it's just that's the life. But there is no thought into growth. There's no thought into changing things. There's not much thought into like how to get more customers. So that's what I mean. The hard work will not translate into more money.
Yeah.
It will translate into, I guess, consistent money as long as this thing that you're doing is working.
Exactly.
And of course, I mean, Chinese food will probably work for every year, forever.
Yeah.
But I think that's an easy example to see, like the more hours and hard work you put in doesn't equal more money or more success.
Like I think hard work is only like a piece of the puzzle. So for example, you have to, first of all, it's like, okay, the minimum thing you have to do is like, everybody's working 12 to 16 hours a day. If like those guys, like the guys at that level, even restaurant owners, like that's the first thing. So you just need to just give up on that. So if you can't even swallow that, then we're having the wrong conversation here, because even entrepreneurs, even normal sales guys, investment bankers are working at crazy hours. Now, everybody doesn't have to work crazy hours, but the truth is, if you can't swallow the fact that that's a minimum, then like you should have to reconsider what you're thinking about. I think the second thing you then have to think about is what other leverage opportunities can I have? Because it's like the thing that Warren Buffett always says is like the boat you are rowing in is more important than like how hard you row, right? So it's like he was talking about comparing himself to a friend of his who was in the steel business, right? When they started working, and he obviously with Berkshire Hathaway, and like look at how far he's gone and where his friend was and where his friend went to, because the metal industry and like the entire like that industry just kept on going down with time, and whereas where he was just going up, right? But that's the difference, right? So it's like, how am I leveraging opportunity? How am I leveraging labor? How am I leveraging code? How am I leveraging so this labor, code, finances, right? So it's like those are three leverage opportunities. Even money is like, obviously money is a leverage point. Like how can I generate capital? Labor is how can I use other people to do more outputs of time. So if you're working 12, you get 12 people to work 12, hence 144, like stuff like that. I think I don't want to get to a whole, I think I'm turning the convo into a different thing. But the point I just wanted to make is that like, you have to really think of what you want, because most people could get what they want working a lot less if they picked right. Because I think that's what most people want. And looking back, even when I asked myself now, because obviously we have Dozigi Digital, and I think it's amazing, and it's like my small baby right now. It's like the only thing I think about when I go to bed and when I wake up. But what I do want to say from this is that I think looking back in hindsight is also like I could have easily have taken the responsibility to have been an entrepreneur. And I would have been as fulfilled in that, or taking the opportunity to be in a more leveraged employee job. So, for example, if you are the closer you are to the money, the more money you make. Hence, sales, right? So, these guys are closer to the sale, hence they make more money off commission because they directly affect if something happens or doesn't happen. So I'm rambling, but the point I'm just trying to say is that like I think people need to really think about it if you really, really, really want to do it, because there's a difference between what you think the thing is and what the thing actually is. Now, I love entrepreneurship till I die, and like my dad is an entrepreneur, and I think that's probably where I got it from. And there's nothing I would do, but it's because I want change and less because I want more money. And I think that's something you have to think about, because you could make a lot of money and not be an entrepreneur. Just like
yeah.
So I want to get into a little bit more personal then, because I think that's interesting. Kind of like the question. First, I mean, guess like I would ask like, are you an entrepreneur, or do you want to be an entrepreneur? And I thought I could kick it off a little bit, because I think it's really interesting, because I've been working as an employee now for maybe like 6-7 years. So I started off being a freelancer, which I guess technically is an entrepreneur-ish, but I didn't really do the entrepreneur stuff. I was always the person that like I got the client from someone and then I did the work. So I don't know. I always thought myself more of a builder, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's at least how I've been the past years, like getting a idea and then building it. There is definitely like entrepreneurial things with it. Like I always have a drive to do new things, or to try new things, or to build new things. But at least I must like talking to myself about what I really enjoy is the building part of it. Because in my head, like for example, an entrepreneur, if I look at things that I did, like maybe a project or something, a really good entrepreneur that is following maybe like the basic steps would find an idea and then do nothing of the idea themselves. They will put down the idea on a paper and then find the people that can do it really well. But I would be more like, I found an idea, okay, I want to learn the skill so I can do this, and then do the next thing. I don't know. Do you guys feel the same in some things? Like you want to do it yourself?
I think for me it's also like, I think really agree with you what you're saying as well, because the thing is you can be a builder, you can do things for yourself, you can be a freelancer, you can do all of these things. But at one point, in the moment you want to grow, you're gonna need to have this entrepreneurship mindset, right? Which is a mindset at the end of the day. What you said is not connected with finances necessarily. It's more a mindset. It's like you got that from your dad, and that's a way of thinking that you've learned. And I think for me, I mean, coming even from the art experience, like coming out of uni, you plan things, you do things. I mean, I have also like I need to work, so you have like always the work aside, but you have always these ideas of things that you can do through art, right? Now, when that idea starts getting bigger, you realize that you need other skills that you didn't learn at uni. And one of them is leadership.
Yeah, you never learn any
right?
of those.
You never learn leadership, how to lead a team of, let's say, you want to create something that is 10 times what you do in your little studio. Okay, now you have a studio that is big. Now you need a team of 5, a team of 10, a team of 20 people on your team. So how is that going to work?
Yeah.
How are you going to lead them? So I think it's that whole mindset. In the moment, for me, it's like even your own journey in life is going to take you to places where you need to force yourself. You need to make a decision. And that comes the entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to take this challenge to grow myself, or am I going to keep what I'm doing? I mean, the example with the restaurant, right? Like, you make it's not wrong or right. It's more like,
it's just a choice.
It's just a choice. And you, no, I'm going to keep this restaurant and that's what we want to work. Great. Or I'm going to start 10 restaurants in Berlin. Right?
But I love this because this is so interesting, because do you think that's something that everyone comes to the conclusion that they want to make something that is bigger than themselves?
No.
Like they want to be bigger than, because you need that drive to even start thinking about, to make more, I need more people. But you could also just not do more and do the same amount the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's fine. And that's when it's a choice. But sometimes you get to the position that you need to make a decision, right? Yeah. And that moment is the mindset. What are you wired like, right? Like what is in you that makes you choose one thing or the other.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of is from childhood. A lot is from what you've seen, examples around you. I'm sure like a child growing up in a humble area with like a farm, like that's what they see, right? And that's the decisions they're gonna make for life unless they're exposed to something different. And a person growing in a space of your family's entrepreneurs, people talk about things in a different way, about finances. You get certain education that is gonna help you make that other decision. And I think that's what I've seen in my life. Sometimes I haven't seen myself. If someone would have asked me earlier, do you see yourself like this? I would have said no.
Yeah.
But then when you're pushed into that, kind of like into that corner, then you think, okay, I need to think different here.
Yeah.
And that's the decision point. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes it comes in the journey, right?
I think so as well.
Like, I'm gonna push you a little bit on this. Do you feel yourself happier now? Is it about happiness?
That's the thing. Like, I think if I would be happy, I would not try new things. Like, meaning,
what do you mean?
Like, if I would be satisfied with everything I'm doing, I would not try to push forward for things. Yeah. So I would just be content.
So satisfaction could be bad in that sense, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah, interesting.
I think like part of me is happy. The part of me that is happy is the part that knows I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I know I'm not doing my best, I will be unhappy.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Yeah.
But the satisfaction, meaning I'm doing my best, doesn't mean that everything's working well. And that pushes me to know, okay, I can keep learning new things because I want to be better. And it comes, I think like, for me, it's all connected in my personal life and work life. And you are the same person wherever you are. And I think that's something that I also learned. Like, I cannot be, I mean, you perform different in different places maybe because you have different roles, but you are the same person. You use the same mind and same mindset for different things. So you're going to do it at home and you're going to do it at work.
Yeah.
And if you are lazy,
you're lazy
at
everywhere.
home, you're gonna be lazy at work.
Like how you do one thing is how you do everything.
I haven't met anyone that is like great with finances at work and really bad with finances at home. Yeah. Like, I mean, unless it's like a huge addiction or something that you're wasting all of, right? But normally, you use that knowledge that you have everywhere. Yeah. And I think that's what I mean about when we talk about learning in different stages of life, that is something I've seen as well. Like, life also pushes you to certain moments that you need to decide if I want to keep growing, I need to make some decisions.
Some tough decisions, Like, I think, like, I don't know. If your back is against the wall, there's a way you have to learn how to make good decisions. And on that, like, and I think that's really what brings out the best in people sometimes. Like, sometimes you just have to be back against the wall and be like it's also until you overwork and you're like, I actually don't like working a lot. I like taking holidays, or vice versa. You take a lot of holidays and you're like, I actually don't like taking holidays a lot. And
I heard something really cool this week, exactly on that point, which was like these two different mindsets. One person that thinks that life is a set of circumstances that happen to you, and the other person that thinks that life is a result of decisions you have made, right? And I thought, when I heard that, I'm like, it's so true. Because one is all based on excuses. Like, you know what, I would like to be further with my financial situation, or I would let's say, I would like to have more time with my kids, but I can't because I'm working a lot. Well, you're working a lot because you decided you want to work a lot. Right?
It didn't just happen to you.
It didn't just happen. Or I want to be fit, but I don't have time to go to the gym. Well, you are making a decision not to go to the gym. You know, like, so actually, if you see yourself as I'm making decisions for good or for bad, and that's the result of the things that I'm creating in my future. Or
so true.
These all circumstances around me, and I'm just a victim here.
Yeah.
And I understand sometimes with health and with sickness and all of these are different factors that
there is things that are happening to you, but it's not talking about that.
Can't. But I'm talking in our part of the world. Is a lot that, and I think like when you talk to people, it's so easy to pick that up. Yeah,
but it's also like it's also like where stress comes from, you know, because I feel like I've been getting stressed a lot, but over the last 3 months now, it's been this whole process of realizing that genuinely I do not actually get stressed if I'm controlling everything under my control. So and sometimes I don't even have to get it correctly. I just need to know that I'm taking steps in the direction of trying to solve it. And most times, once I know I'm trying to give it my best, as you said, giving that thing my best, even if it's not solved, as long as I can analyze the risk, see the risk, and then move forward nevertheless, despite if I'm like, okay, 10 things happened, 5 of them were in my control, and of those 5 things that were in my control, I gave those 5 things my all. It still didn't work. I'm fine with that.
That's exactly how I feel also. Like, you can have I have a big issue I need to tackle at work, for example, and it feels stressful. Oh, it's so big. But then if I start it, maybe I start it, do no work because I realized that I need to ask a question. The stress is gone. Even I did nothing. But the stress is gone because you went past like the first hurdle.
Exactly.
So interesting, like how that works.
Is this thing of like consciously attacking the thing, right? Of like you being the one that attacks it, than just as you said, being the victim and waiting. And I think that's really where stress comes from. And most times I don't think like, is this thing also, it's like where we talked last time about like speed and growing fast. Personally, I don't think speed is no, I don't necessarily think speed is a function of time, but I think it's a function of repetitions. We talked about this thing is like, if someone has 1 hour and they do something 10 times in 1 hour, you do 10 times in 10 hours. You guys still did the thing 10 times. It's just in different time. So, and I really think about it like, when you have something that you're stressed about, or you have decisions you want to make, you don't have to wait 10 years to think about it. You just need to look, okay, what's the thing stressing me about? What is in my control? And how can I just attack that thing? And then from there, you start to unfold.
It's good. We need a stress episode for that.
But
I think also like we have the ability to change what we don't like. And I think that's something, again, with decisions, right? Like, just because your life was bad over the last 5-10 years on decisions you make, doesn't need to be the same the next 10 years.
Exactly.
I think you always can choose that point, right? When you make, but exactly, then you need to be consequent with it. But for that, I think one really important thing is to have people around you that help you with that as well.
And just to like sorry, Isak, before you continue, but the thing I think for me is just like, back to everything we talked about with this job entrepreneurship thing, is really just like, you need to choose. When you are thinking, like, first of all, to think, like, that's such a hard thing to do, but people don't actually think, or like thinking, what do I want? And sometimes it's fine to try stuff out for 6 months and then be like, okay, I tried that out, I don't like it. But I think if you actually think and say, oh, I don't know if I want that or that, and then you try, and then you realize, oh, I like that or I don't like that, then you move forward from that. And I think maybe sometimes there's too much pressure on like trying to just do the thing because everybody else is saying it. And I think I also fell prey to that. I fell prey to like wanting to do the thing, and I had to ask myself, do I really want to do this thing? Especially with entrepreneurship, but also other things as well. And I think once you can come to the point where you make that decision for yourself, you have more vision, you have the opportunity to lead more, you have more purpose in what you're doing every day, because now you know, I'm choosing to be here. I'm choosing to work at this company that I believe is going somewhere that's going to change the world, or I'm creating this company that's going to change the world, or I'm not doing anything. I'm just chilling for the weekend, but I'm choosing that. Right? I think nothing is right or wrong. It's just what we choose.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I thought to wrap it up, because I think it's a really interesting topic, especially for myself personally, being I feel like I'm at the point where you're kind of wondering what would be the next step, like what would be a step that brings a lot of purpose.
CTO?
Well, not that depends if you create your own company, right? Like, I'm not becoming CTO. CTO takes a long time to become, because you have to like work yourself up and that's crazy. No, but I mean, for example, I work in a normal programming job like every week. I earn enough money to have no problems with anything. So then, what is the meaning? You know, what's the meaning of working? And the I think for me the tough thing can be at work to find, like we talk about leadership, like leading yourself at work, to do more than is needed. I think it can be hard to do. And for example, I think doing something like this, like a podcast on each Saturday, I think that brings a lot of purpose to me, or bring a lot of satisfaction. But it's the same thing there even if I think podcast is like one of the most fun things to do, that doesn't help me in leading myself to do more work for it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know what my question is, but I'm thinking, like, thinking about this thing of doing more or doing what you actually enjoy. I don't know. I'm thinking about, like, it's so easy to fall to like the what's needed.
Yeah.
Even though you know that I'm happier, I'm more satisfied, everything is better if I spend more time into something.
Would you connect that like a bit with fulfillment, or like kind of, you know, because thinking about like, am I fulfilled through my work, you know, or am I looking for fulfillment through my career?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right.
That's a good point.
Because I'm a bit for what you're saying right now. I think that's what I'm thinking. Like, because it could happen to anyone. It doesn't need to be that job. You could be also in your situation, entrepreneur, and then you kind of like reach your goals.
And then what?
And right. Or let's say with this podcast, let's say we have like thousands of views and like great, but
and then what?
Is that the fulfillment that we're looking for, or are we you know, it's a really good question, because if not, like, where are you looking for that?
Yeah, I think a good question to ask is like, who said work has to be fulfilling? Right? It's like, let's even like address the fundament, like, who says work has to be fulfilling, right? So like, you know, which is also like a thing that we get, because it's all things that we've accepted from other people that we've put into us. Like, who says work has to be fulfilling? Life has to be fulfilling, sure. But who says work has to be fulfilling?
Yeah, that's
right?
so good.
Let's start with that. But also the second thing, also I think what helps generally with this thing, because I think I was struggling with this with uni. At a point I was just like, it was hard because I'm not German. I'm struggling with this language to communicate. I'm not making friends. And my professors think I'm dumb even though I'm not, because I understand everything they're saying. I just can't say it. And then I would rather just not talk, right? And then it's like, they're like, is this guy checking what we're saying? I'm like, yeah, I'm checking for sure, but I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
Do you get? And it's not because I can't say it, it's because I can't say it in German sometimes. But I guess the things became better for me personally, at least for my experience, was once I could attach my own personal purpose, the thing that I was chasing, and I linked that to being at uni. So once, for me at least, it was like, okay, this big goal of like Nigeria 24/7 electricity. We have to get to the point where we stay in this country, and part of that is having my visa extended, and part of that is being as successful in university. Now, I could also just graduate, but like what Andres said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if I know I'm a person of excellence, I want to make sure that my results reflect that. And I think for me, it was just like, okay, if how I do one thing is how I do everything, I want to be excellent in that. I need to stay here because of visa. Then it kind of just connects itself to the point where it's like, okay, I guess I might just give this thing my all, you know? And then I think that helps. At least I don't really know if there's a 100% solution. It varies from person to person, but from my own personal experience, that was what helped. But I think the bigger question is like, who says work has to be fulfilling?
I think that's a good point, but we are at work so much during like our lives. So I feel like it's a waste of time if it doesn't do anything for you. Like if because you're 8 hours a day ish, you know, like if that's not fulfilling. I mean, I guess we work for money. That's the reality. And I heard like millennials, which not you, but I think us are millennials.
We're in the two extremes, I think.
Yeah, but we're the same generation. Is funny. But like I heard that the stereotype there for millennials is that they want fulfillment from work, and then for Zoomers that you are, the stereotype is that they just want to work for money and then have fun, party or whatever.
Or like just go and do something else, which is like, I think that's also really cool. Like,
but what I'm thinking now when we talk about this is like therapy for me, which is great. I feel like I need to find a bigger vision for the future, in a sense of like, because I do enjoy my current work and I do have the opportunity to learn a lot. So I feel like to be fulfilled and kind of get some and know the purpose would be if I can kind of like maybe set it more in stone, like what is my 1 year, 2 year vision with this knowledge? Like if I'm going to learn more, which I'm doing in this specific, for example, backend, I'm learning more. If I learn that, why do I have to learn it, or where do I have to go? That's why
full stack coming soon.
Yeah, but why should I do full stack? That would be the question. Do I want to be full stack so I can build my own app and then be entrepreneurial. Is that what I want? I think that's something that
I think that's really interesting, because you just mentioned this. We're talking about fulfillment through work and all of that, but maybe that feeling that you are not in control of your future could be the thing that becomes like, so now what? I just stay here and work, But maybe that really good way of making that more clear is painting the picture, writing it down. Where do I see myself in 1 year, 3, 5, 10?
Yeah.
And then you write your goals. Like, even if you don't hit 100%, but you at least have a direction. And I think then you feel like, oh, it's not someone else making my goals for me. I'm doing my own goals, even if though I work in a company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you are mapping out your life, not companies. The company can go up and down, but you are not gonna. You're not that connected to that company to succeed or in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you writing things down can be a really good way of making that more clear. We do it with finances, right?
Yeah.
We write like financial goals, things that you want, but what about other things? Like
I need to do that because I think about it. I don't have it currently, like a vision for like half a year, 1 year at work, and I think that's why I would say I'm a really good employee. Like if something needs to be done, I will do it whatever time it takes. I will make it happen. But if there's nothing that needs to be done now, nothing on the table, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that has to do, I think, both a little bit with self-leadership. Like, am I doing something to progress, and also with what's my personal vision? Because sure, I can chill and do whatever, and it's not wrong in any way because I've done my job, blah 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 blah. But yes, it doesn't add anything to speed up my skill. But then this question is, why would I speed up my skill? And that's where the goal is needed, right?
Yeah.
And this makes this interesting. I need to
think about
to do that.
I think that's also the biggest thing with freelancers. That's why most freelancers struggle, in my opinion. It's because they like most freelancers actually just would make more money if they did the same thing working for a company. Like the best freelancers are the ones that just leave their company and become a contractor for the same company,
right?
Except they're a contractor, so they still work at this company just as a contractor. Hence, they have more leverage on their time technically. But the problem is once people are responsible for their time, it's like, oh, now you have all the thing, because it's like, oh, I want freedom, you get freedom. Then it's like, oh my God, I can manage it, right? So it's like they're praying for that thing of like, how do you say it? When someone asks, what do you want the most? Is it money or is it the ability to handle all the money? Right? Because you pray, or you're asking yourself, oh, like, oh, I want to get all these things, and then you're wishing and whatever, and then you get it, and it's like, I can't actually manage it. What do you actually want?
It's a typical example of the guy that wins the lotto, right?
Chichi.
Like, it's the best example.
Yeah.
Because you are not financially educated for it. So you're gonna lose so much unless you really use that money to get the financial advice.
Bro, you should.
Let me just drop a story. Let me just drop a story, and then we'll end this. So, guys, I was watching this video, and I thought he was telling this story. I was like, this is such a good story. So he was like, there was a guy, right? So this guy was doing the lotto, and then he won like 10 million.
Boom.
Right? Do you know exactly what he did? He went to all his family members. He asked them for money. He was like, Dad, Mom, I need money. I actually need 2,000. I need 2,000. All of them. No, I actually can help you. I don't have 1,000. I don't have 2,000. I can't help you. 2 days later, texted all of them, I just won the lotto. None of them asked him for money again, because they felt so bad that he just asked them for money 2 days ago, and none of them gave them money. That was the jackpot to winning the lotto and not having anyone asking for money. Do you just get started?
I'm sorry, I lost it.
So
he asked them in advance.
He asked them in advance once he won the lotto. So he didn't tell anybody he won the lotto.
Yeah.
He asked all his family members and friends for money.
Yeah.
They didn't give him because they didn't have anything to give him. Then he told everybody he just won the lotto.
Yeah.
But they felt so bad because he just asked them 2 days ago for money. They couldn't ask him for anything, because they felt bad that he.
Okay.
So he was just like,
yeah, okay.
Nobody's asking for money. And I was like, bro, that's the funniest story.
That's smart.
I was like, bro, that's like playing mind games.
That's why probably he won the lotto, because he's smart.
That was the funniest story I heard.
Oh, man.
I don't know, like if it's a real story, if it's like just a folk tale or something. But I was like, that's a good story.
If one day Joshua comes and asks us for 2,000, we know that
we know. Oh,
we should give it quickly.
I will give it quickly.
Give it quickly.
And then can I get double back?
Yeah. No, that's funny.
No, it's good.
True.
I think that was a good episode. I enjoyed it. We wrap it up here. I think Yeah. To recap, so if the listener, if you lost the topic was everyone needs to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I think just to summarize it, there's pros and cons to it, which is so important to remember, and those pros and cons is gonna determine if you need to be an entrepreneur or not. And maybe it's different times in life we're an entrepreneur, and different times you're not. Quick facts, for example, an employee. You can leave work at your end of the day, and then you don't have to think about work until the next day. As an entrepreneur, you most likely have to check if your business is doing well, even at 8 p.m. on a night, because maybe you have 10 employees that are working that time, and so on and so on. So there's pros and cons to everything. And anything you guys want to add to that, to the pros and cons?
And if you just if you're not sure and you just want more money, just go for more leverage opportunities instead of trying to be an entrepreneur. Because most entrepreneurs don't even make money at the beginning, right? If you agree it's just more money, then just get a more leveraged job or more leveraged opportunity, and then you should be fine.
And also from my side, just to say, you can use the opportunity wherever you are. To grow yourself and become for the next season, be the lot of person, be prepared for when good things come. And I think that's what you can do in advance. Maybe you don't have the position to lead a company, but you are in a company. So why don't you become that person already?
Yeah.
So then when you are in that position, you are prepared. You have new challenges, but you're prepared more than just really trying to start everything from scratch. And that's something I always remember for myself, that you can lead from wherever you are. That is not a position in a company to develop your leadership capacity. You can help your boss, you can lead your boss, you can lead your work colleagues, you can meaning so add value to them, be your entrepreneurial mindset means do you see the need? Do you see opportunities to fulfill that? And what's ways to do it? And I'm sure it's highs and lows and everything, but I think that's why it's good that we had this conversation as well, because it's real life. We're not talking here just a few tips for it's real life, and every situation is different. So I think that's why it's good. If there's any comments on this, I'm thinking we can also put it on the comments on the Spotify or YouTube. People can write.
YouTube comments is perfect for that.
Awesome.
That's good.
Super. Let's wrap this up then with some sick pics.
Okay. Since I'm in the middle, let me start. I'm always the last person, but you can switch it around.
Entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah. I think, but following up, guys, I think my last week's sick pick was, I told you guys I'm trying to sleep better.
Yeah, the heavy blanket.
Yeah, heavy blanket. So the second add on top of this, my sick pick because I gifted myself this to start the year. So I got the Blackout curtains. So it was a full step to transform my room. Well, it's not completely transformed, but it makes a big difference. So I used to have the curtains that are just purple and you can see through, light comes through all the time. But what happened was the tennis court behind my house is a whole construction site now. It's full 24/7 light is on all the time.
Really?
Yeah, because it's in the middle of the night, you just have to have lights on, because I think there are people who they had to build a shed for people to live there. I think they have construction guys sleeping there. So lights need to be on. It's straight coming right into my room. So I was just okay, something needs to be done, because in the middle of the night, it's super bright, daylight. So I got these blackout curtains, because it's part of the whole, how can we make the entire room dark? And I also taped all the lights in my room with black tape to make sure that the lights are off. And it really helped. That and the heavy blankets.
It looks something illegal.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right. You're not going to believe my sick pick. Let me look for it here. I have... I pulled a muscle on Monday.
Sheesh.
I'm still hurting a lot of my back. And the thing is my wife Sheila was telling me, my sister got a new mat that you need to try. So I got it yesterday to try it.
Is it spikes?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Man, I'm telling it's called
explain.
Shaki mat, acupressure mat.
Let me see. Akupunktur?
Yeah. It's lots of small little needles that then you put it on. You need to lay your whole back on it. For
can you
20
show the
minutes.
camera? Can you see it?
You're not going to see it in the camera.
Small.
But we can put the description, the link.
It's in the description.
I was yesterday, at the beginning when you lay on that.
You already tried it?
Yeah, I tried yesterday night. It's crazy painful.
Yeah, it's super
crazy painful. But if you can do the first 5 minutes, the rest, you know what happened? I fall asleep on the needles. And
really?
Sheila had to wake me up. It's 20 minutes have passed already.
What?
Crazy. The whole, I think it has
You
to
went
do
from
with-
screaming to sleeping?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I was Sheila, can you help me? Can you help me stand up? I cannot hold it. No, you need to hold it.
That's
I'm like, no.
crazy.
And then I just feel like a lot of heat in your whole back. And I just fall asleep. Sheila had to wake me
Maybe
up.
you fainted. You were close to dying, maybe.
Could be. And then I had such a pain in my back from all the needles for like super hot.
Did it help?
This morning I was not sure about sick picking this because this morning I woke
It's
up
more a
with
fun pick, maybe.
with fun pick because I had some more pain. But I'm gonna try to do it for this
it
week.
takes time as well.
You need to do it every day.
Every day for a while.
20 minutes, and I think it's a lot of blood going through your whole back as well. So it's kind of like what you get also with a massage, or like putting pressure on points. But it's super intense.
We call it the experiment pick. We'll see.
Experiment.
We
That's
can
next
follow
week.
up. Follow up next week if it
Follow up.
works. Yeah,
Great.
That's funny.
that's good.
Well, I've used it
That's
before.
funny.
I couldn't. 2 seconds, I was out. I dipped.
That's scary.
Yeah,
But it's not sharp enough, so it will not go into your.
No,
back.
it
not
can't.
going.
No.
The only thing, I mean, the real reason I did it because Sheila did it before, right?
Ah, okay.
So she did it before. I mean, the same day,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, so she's fine.
If she can do it, I can do
I
it.
can do it.
Easy.
Otherwise, it would have been only me. I'm like, I'm not sure.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
All right, I'm gonna sick pick. I'm gonna do a sick pick for the drummers because I bought a drum set some weeks ago.
Sheesh.
Finally, I played a lot of drums in my life, but living in an apartment here in Berlin, I never did. So I bought an electric one, and the electric ones has become really good now. Like the what do you call it? The technology has become really good. So I'm having a lot of fun with those, and that's the Roland TD07 KVX. But I think the actual sick pick would be the program called EZdrummer 3, which is the program that you connect to the drums, and then you get the sound from the computer. And this
really
is
good, right? Yeah,
is
makes
so good. It sounds so realistic, which makes the whole experience so fun. Because like in my apartment, I can play like full real drums, and it feels like I'm actually playing real drums, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's been a good.
And all with the
Good thing.
headphones, with your headphones.
With
on.
headphones, yeah. You can play the speaker, but electric drums still make sounds like ta 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 ta. So it sounds the absolute best in headphones. So anyone who knows me are super welcome to come over and try it, because I love
Are
showing
you
it.
type of drummer like just get sweating and really going for it?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
played. Well, I grew up playing a lot in church, but my main music was metal outside of church. Yeah, so I play a lot of metal. So I love. I'm using it as an because I always sweat, so I use it as a way of working out now.
that's
You know,
great.
so
Awesome.
can do say a little bit of workout, a little bit of cardio.
That's fun, bro. Because like on your
It's
wedding,
really
you were
fun.
just hitting those drums very hard. Like boom,
True, I
boom,
played one song in the
bro.
wedding. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was without practice for years. So
Yeah.
I didn't know the technique. I only knew the power. So
Yeah.
it was
You
all
were just
power.
going all power. I was like,
All power, no technique.
all power, all power. That's good.
Great. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this episode. We are the Non-Berliners.
Berliners.
Nah, that's definitely going on the podcast.
Peace out.
All right.